Have you ever said yes to a friend's offer and then wished you hadn't? Well, in law, that simple yes might just become a promise. And a promise, that's where contracts begin to get serious. Hi, I am Prasad. Welcome to one section at a time where we simply talk about law in general, and in this episode, we are going to talk about the Indian Contract Act. We have already seen a contract, which is an agreement enforceable by law covered in Section 2H of Indian Contract Act. And every contract starts with a proposal covered in Section 2A. Now let's look at the next step, Section 2B, where a proposal becomes a promise. Section 2B says when the person to whom the proposal is made signifies his assent thereto, the proposal is said to be accepted. A proposal, when accepted, becomes a promise. Let me repeat it one more time. When the person to whom the proposal is made signifies his assent thereto, the proposal is said to be accepted. A proposal, when accepted, becomes a promise. In simple words, someone makes a proposal. The other person could be a specific person or a general person who accepts it. So the other person accepts it. This acceptance converts the proposal into a promise. So a promise is equal to proposal plus acceptance. Let's take one simple example, a simple sale. A says to B, I will sell you my guitar for 5,000. B replies, yes, I will buy it. This is now a promise. Both are legally expected to follow through. Let us look at some famous case laws. One of the most important case laws in Contract Act is about Carlill versus the Carbolic Smoke Ball Company, which was in UK, and it's 1893 is the year in which this case was decided. And this is one of the most cited cases for offer and acceptance. The company had advertised, we will pay £100 to anyone who uses our smoke ball and still gets the flu. Mr. Carlill used it, followed all the instructions, and still got sick. The court held that her using the smoke ball was acceptance even though she didn't write back to the company. Offer accepted, legal promise made, the company was held liable. This case is a great example of acceptance by conduct. Another case of Harvey versus Facey, again UK 1893. In this case, one party asked, will you sell us your property? The other had replied, with the price, lowest price is £900. But this was not acceptance, this was just information provided by one party to the other party. The court held no promise was formed because there was no clear acceptance of a proposal. Let's look at one more case. This is an Indian case with a little bit of twist. The case dates back to 1913. A servant was sent to find a missing boy. After he found the boy, he learned that there was a reward, but since he didn't know about the reward at the time he acted, that is, finding the boy, there was no acceptance and hence no promise. The court said, you must have knowledge of the offer before you can accept it. You must have knowledge of the offer before you can accept it. Now, why this matters? Because without acceptance, there is no legal commitment. That circle has to be completed until and unless the acceptance is given, the promise doesn't come into existence itself. And unless that commitment is clear, you don't have a promise. Now, these cases show how real life scenarios are judged legally, often based on something as small as a word, a reply, or at times even silence. Let's do a quick recap. A proposal becomes a promise only when accepted. Section 2B legally defines this transition from a proposal when accepted becomes a promise. Cases like the Carlill or the Harvey and the Lalman Shukla case help us understand how courts decide whether a promise was actually made. Thanks for listening to one section at a time. I hope you got some understanding about what a promise is. In the next episode, we will talk about maybe what makes an agreement and how all these elements form a valid contract. If you found this helpful, please do share it with your law school friends or even someone who always wanted to maybe argue. And please follow the podcast for more simplified law. We will keep coming out with new podcast every week. Until next time, let's keep learning, keep questioning, and keep listening. Thank you very much.